don't always agree. I'm from the deserts and have one point of view, and he's from the city. And although we share a lot of points of view, we also can have a very distinct points of view, particularly about water in the Owens Valley where I live, and water in the LA basin, or in LA where he lives. So.
Project, what we're trying to do is to appeal to a fairly wide audience of different types of people, everyone from people that have a more academic background to, most importantly, the actual people living in the desert. So having two different points of view to begin with, I think sort of helps us to keep a perspective that's balanced about the different issues that we're handling, because we really do want to mostly just raise general awareness about the desert and not be specific to one political perspective.
Don't you think we've also discovered how much things connect?
Oh, yeah.
All things connect. So we were just on the river, and the river connects to where I live, and water connects all of it in various ways. So.
One thing about the river that I find fascinating is that, for a long time, the deserts of the Southwest have sort of largely been seen as a good place to either mine for things or do military exercise, or just a place to just dump things that we don't want. And that's really been people's mindsets about how to consider those land resources for a long time. And in the same way, like the LA River has just been a concrete tomb that the city has turned its back on for a number of decades, since it was built in the late 30s. And now the LA River is going to be developed into green space, and people are really starting to think this could be an important land resource for this large population area. And in the same way, I think deserts are being looked at as an important environmental resource, an important place for people to enjoy, to live in, to experience.
To get sane, almost, it seems like,
Yeah.
People go to the desert and they go to be on the rivers and they go to enjoy the landscape, and it does something very mentally healing for them that we lose perhaps in our modern, very busy day.
In addition to sort of the landscape and the natural sort of lands that are out there, we're very focused on the different communities, people living there, and the stories that are, that people have to tell. So we're interested in telling the desert story in the voices of the people that are out there. One of the important things about this long-term collaboration is that I guess really what the purpose of it is to draw people's attention to the beauty that exists in the near desert. And one of the reasons that we're particularly interested in people being aware of the Mojave Desert is that, we're one of the largest, most densely populated areas in the US. And right outside, we have one of the most amazing, least populated sort of land resources around. And that land resource is under a lot of pressure to be developed for green energy right now. And neither Chris and I are opposed to green energy, but we're interested in having people make intelligent decisions about where that green energy is going to be deployed, and whether the Mojave Desert, which is the smallest desert in California and the one that's closest to the largest population center, is the right place to be sort of developing these large industrial wind farms. And another aspect about the project is that, we're not so much focused on just natural lands in general, but specifically the ways that these natural lands have been impacted by human development, human enterprise of various sorts.
Well, Well, you know, in a city, things that fail are taken away, and a new building or a new factory or a new something is put there. The desert doesn't have that same renewal, urban renewal or rural renewal process, and so the things that were there 50 or 100 years ago are there still today. They're just in the form of ruins. It always worries me when you see all these plants and windmills covering the area. We've talked about this. Will there be money when they are over or have to be renewed? Will they just sit there slowly falling apart, or will they be actually taken away?
I think another really important aspect about what we're trying to do with the words and the pictures is that we're trying to make the story of the desert interesting to a large group of people, because I think many people in LA are not aware of the deserts that are right outside their doorstep and why that might be important to think about preserving them. So one of the things that we can do with the images is to attract people to the blog in the first place. But the way that Chris writes for the blog as well is designed to be attractive to a large and diverse population of people that are sort of pressed for time.